is quite right. Feedback is about being timely and immediate and of the moment. So I thought we'd try some technology to start, and we'd ask you a question that's probably top of your minds right now as far as customer experience is concerned. How was lunch? Well, actually, we'll do it properly because we are all customer focused, so we'll do it in the right language, aren't we? On a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being highly likely, how likely are you to recommend the lunch you just had to your friends, family, colleagues, that sort of thing? You should have a little tag. If you could score, press, or vote now, please. We will have a look at the results a bit later on, if that's okay. I'll come back to it. In the meantime, let's have a look at what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to have a chat with you about customer experience with a difference. That's what we do at Rant Rave. And I want to start by thinking, well, why do we need to do anything with a difference? We're all here from all sorts of different disciplines and backgrounds, and I suspect some of us are probably doing pretty well in terms of our customer engagement. We're probably putting a lot of effort into listening to our customers. What have they got to tell us? Let's collect in feedback and hear how we're getting on. Well, there are those who think that we, customer professionals, are not doing that good a job. Gartner think we're pretty crap at it. Their view is 95% of customer feedback goes to waste. I don't know if you agree with that. I don't know if you think that's actually what's happening in your business. Maybe you're bucking the trend. Maybe all of your customer feedback is landing in that 5% that actually you do something with. I'm not sure. But I want to have a look at some ways we can try and do something about that. So, we believe, Gartner, as a company, that 95% of customer feedback goes to waste. We actually believe a few other things as well. We believe that brands and consumers want the same thing, and that consumers want a good experience that's easy, and brands want customers who spend money in a way that's clean and easy and simple to deliver too. Because I know we were singing yesterday, but it is all about the money, actually. No, I mean, it is really, isn't it? Are we allowed to admit that at the second half of the second day? That all of this customer engagement, all of this customer focus, all of this, what do our customers want? Why are we doing it? It's about the money. And if you don't think it is, just walk me through your budget sign-off process for whatever your next customer focus or customer engagement or customer feedback campaign is going to be. It is all about the money at the end of the day. The trouble is we've got to do quite a lot to get to that, and we'll have a look at how. We think every interaction with a brand creates an experience. You might not want it to, but it does. Sitting on hold on the phone creates an experience. Going into a store creates an experience. Talking to somebody creates an experience. We think that if you can make it easier for customers, you can make life more straightforward and simple. You can serve them an omelette at 6:45 in the morning rather than at 7 o'clock. Actually, you reduce their effort and you turn them into ravers. And ravers get you to the money. I think if you ask for feedback and don't do anything with it, it's worse than not asking in the first place. The process of asking sets up an expectation in the customer's mind, you're going to do something. I've asked you what you thought about lunch. I haven't done anything with it yet. It's set an expectation that at some point I will. And if I don't, I'd be better off not asking in the first place. And then we get to the crux of it, really. If you want to know what your customers think and feel, why not ask them, what do you think? Or how do you feel? Rather than on a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being highly likely, how likely are you to recommend to your friends and colleagues the meal that you just had? Because nobody talks like that. We don't. I mean, seriously, do you actually talk to your friends like that? Because I don't. I do have friends and I don't talk like that. But I would say, how was lunch? And we seem to get a bit mixed up on this when we start being professional about these things. I wonder why. We talked a lot about social media over the course of the conference. We believe quite strongly that by the time it's out on social media, it's too late. If your customer engagement strategy to find out what your customers think, particularly if you're looking to find out where things are going wrong so you can put them right, if that entire strategy relies on looking at what people are saying about you on social media, it's already, the horse has bolted. You're washing your dirty linen in public, and many other metaphors to go along with it. It's already out there. It's too late. We think, grab hold of people in the moment. Ask them straight away. That's why I asked you, straight after lunch, what do you think? One of the best ways to do that is the mobile channel. I'm doing something at the moment that I haven't done for over a month. And it's probably something that none of you in the room are doing. I am more than 8 feet away from my mobile phone. And it's really uncomfortable. Why do we believe all this stuff? Some stats I'm sure you're familiar with. We wrestle with the challenge that only 4% of dissatisfied customers typically tell the company they're unhappy with. 70% of customer defection is down to poor customer service. But if you can do something about it, if you can find that ranter in the moment, acknowledge and fix the problem, the overall stat is 32 to 89% repurchase probability change. Fantastic effect if you put things right. But it's a tough one, these ranters. These people are not happy. Bill's just proved it. He's not happy about the car parking sign. Now, to be fair, Bill, you're being quite generous to them because you told them, so you're in that 4%, and you said you're going to tell the head office, so you're right in that 4%. Most people don't do that. Back when I was at school, the textbook said you told 16 other people. Well, you've just told how many hundred we have here, which is a bit more. But with social media, if you just tweet it, well, you're into this. We did a piece of work looking at some research, and we found a review of an Audi service delivered by a dealer. And I have to say, it was awful. They slated this dealership. That wasn't seen by 16 people. It was seen by 64,000 people. Or if you want to go bigger than that, there was a schoolgirl up near Scotland who started a little blog talking about her school dinners. She took a photograph every day and talked about what it was and said whether she liked it or not. It was in Argyll, I think. I've never been there. It was a national news story. I mean, or if you don't know that one, then I'm sure you know this one. Do we all know what United do to guitars? If you don't know what United do to guitars, I would worry if you're in customer experience, because United break guitars according to the hit song, or the 3 hit songs that have got somewhere in excess of 10 million viewings on YouTube, and that was an international news story because they broke the chap's guitar. So this 4% might be talking to us. The 96% can go and tell the world. That's what social media is really doing in terms of customer experience. It's really quite scary. It's not all negative, though. We're rant and rave, so what about the ravers? Well, ravers, or advocates, as they often get talked about in marketing textbooks, tend to spend more. They actually tend to spend 3 times more. They're also responsible for the positive influence. Something like 50% of customer purchases have a strong element of influence that comes from word of mouth. And the word of mouth comes from your ravers. It comes from the people who love you. Don't take my word for it. Listen to Phil. I like this chap because he wrote the marketing textbook I used in my first year at university. You might have used it yourselves. The big blue Bible of marketing, Philip Kotler, Strategic Marketing. Advocates will do your marketing for you if you mobilize them, listen to them, and engage them. So there's a huge upside to this customer experience as well as the down. We think the world is actually ranting and raving already. The challenge to business is we've only got 4% of it actually talking to us. We need to do something with it. So how does that start to turn into a different customer experience? I've been talking about ranting and raving, but I haven't really linked that back to customer experience itself. Well, Forrester has started to map out how customer experience has been changing over time. They go all the way back to 1900, the age of manufacturing, Ford making the Model T, and you could have any color you wanted as long as it was black. And that was the customer experience because the power was with the people who had the product and the manufacturers. And Forrester mapped it all the way through the century, and it transitions, and basically there is a trend of increasing choice, increasing information, and increasing empowerment for the customer and away from the company or the brand. And so their challenge is to say, well, what do you do? Forrester's advice? Obsess about your customers and deliver a new kind of experience. They talk about a proactive experience. A proactive experience that helps close the gap, that sorts out the data and the information and lets you deliver a service that's personal and immediate and timely. Ideally, so personal and immediate and timely that you're anticipating what your customer needs before they ask for it and delivering it to them or delivering the information. Maybe they'd have spotted that Bill on day 1 had an omelette and asked for it at 6:45 in the morning, and they had to shuffle around to find the chef to do that. And because he stayed there last night, they thought, Bill's going to want another omelette in the morning. I'll make sure there's someone there to do that in advance. We wouldn't have had a story that's going to go to head office that's unhappy about the experience. You'd have had a customer going, wow. And that's what we want to get to. We want to get to the wow. But you get to the wow by starting off with the easy bit. You've got to make it easy. Because if it isn't easy, you're not going to get many people saying wow about you. Who's going to rave about how enjoyable something is if, frankly, it's a complete pain in the neck to actually do and achieve? And we all do this as businesses, and I'm sure we've all experienced it as customers. Do you have people that you buy from or that you transact with who you think, am I doing you a favor giving you my money? Because that's what it feels like. I'm having to jump through so many hoops. It's making it so hard and so difficult. I can just go and do this somewhere else. So that's what we're about at Rant Rave. We want to try and tackle these problems of customer engagement and making it easy. And we use technology to do that. We use proactive communications to anticipate what the customers want and deliver to them. And we use fast feedback to measure the effect and the results to drive the improvement and the actions that we need. And we're all about that real-time inspired action. I'm back to the Gartner stat. 95% of feedback goes to waste. We think if you're not going to take action off it, why are you asking? Now, I said it is all about the money. Don't worry about the bit in the middle. That's just all the techie stuff. If somebody wants to know how it works afterwards, ask me. But the key bit is, what's it worth? How does all this work actually add value for clients? Well, we're around this customer experience on the right-hand side, measuring the customer experience to find and drive business improvement, and then linking it to the left-hand side. If you're doing it right, you should be able to link it to either reduced costs or increased revenue or both. And that's how you get your project signed through. Go for the hard measure. Why not? And then it gets really cool, because if you do it right, and if you do it in a way that is easy for customers, then not only are you reducing your costs and growing your revenue, but your customers get to benefit as well, because it should be win-win. They should see effort reduced, their satisfaction increased, they've got more speed, more convenience, and more relevance of the information that you're sending to them. Then it is all about the money for the business, but it's all about the experience for the customer. They link up. One of the best and easiest ways to link them up, I've already touched on. The mobile phone. I'm pretty confident every single person in the room has got at least one. I'm tragic, I've got two. There's more phones in the country than there are people, so this is a pretty safe bet that somebody has. Most people are never more than 8 feet away from their mobile phone. 70% of the UK population sleep with their mobile phone. I wasn't here for the panel, but this may be an issue around phones and ringtones and No, I won't go with that joke, that's awful. But everybody's got them. It's the bridge between the physical and the digital world. It links your online strategy to your physical presence. And one of the most powerful things on it, smartphones, apps, email, video streaming, it's text messaging. It's the simplest thing in the world. But when we get to the coffee break, you will all take out your mobiles. I bet you've got about 100 emails. You've probably got some missed calls. Maybe you've got a voicemail waiting, and you might have a text message. I am quite happy to bet anybody in the room you will read the text first. Because you don't get that much spam. It's short, it's concise, they can't have written you a novel, and it's probably urgent. It grabs attention in a way that all of the other communication channels don't. That's why Gartner again, SMS remains, not is, remains the single most powerful real-time engagement channel on the planet. Or if you're fed up with Gartner, Google say, put your best people on mobile. It is an amazingly powerful channel. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example that links up the customer experience and making it easy for the customer with pound notes for the company. DPD, who hold, amongst other things, some of the contracts to deliver Amazon, and as far as I can tell, their entire share price is supported by my wife doing our Christmas shopping, use text messages to customers to tell them when their parcel is going to arrive. And then they use a bit of technology. Look at the text. Would you like us to deliver it to your neighbor? Well, I would, because I wouldn't like you to take it back and stick it in a warehouse in the back of Beyond that I've got to go and drive 5 miles to get to, and I can't because I've got a job and it's not open when I'm not at work. Dropping it off with a neighbour is a brilliant option. That's made it really easy for me. One button, bang, reply. Or tomorrow, or the day after, or link through to their other channel. It's easy. And you can drop on the back of that if you want to. You've got the delivery. How is the experience? You could measure through the same channel as well. Is that a good customer experience? Yes, I know what's going on with my parcel, and I'm more likely to get it when I want it. Fine. What does it do for DPD? Saves them about £4 million a year in missed deliveries and redelivery costs. If you get this right, you improve the customer experience, you make it easy for the customer, and you can either save money or make money. DPD are one of the top ranking delivery companies in the country for parcel deliveries to the public. I've picked mobile, but you need to work across all the channels that you've got, bricks and mortar, web and digital, call centres. Let's look at another example of how. I've done this because we're after lunch. I wouldn't put it out mid-morning because it wouldn't be fair. Papa John's Pizza. Hopefully you're all feeling okay about that now. But Papa John's Pizza are keen to find out what the customers think of their experience. So they ask on the pizza box itself. They ask on the flyer or the menu that you get on top of the box. They ask you on your confirmation email when you place the order. They ask you on the website that you went to where you were placing the order in the first place. They ask you via text message. They ask you online. They ask you on every touch point across the whole of the journey. And you choose where and how you want to reply. Some people reply several times, some people pick lots of options, some people only come back on one. It doesn't matter. It's every touch point. It's making it easy across the whole customer journey from placing the order to having the hot pizza in your hand and eating it. And when they get the feedback, it goes straight back to the store that made and delivered that pizza in under a couple of minutes so that they can do something about it. It's no good Bill walking up to the counter and saying, I didn't get my omelette this morning, and the response being, thank you very much, we'll put that into our customer feedback process, and our insight team will analyse that at the end of the month, roll it up to a quarterly strategy, and have a think about whether we do something or not. I mean, fine, you can do that, but that doesn't do anything for Bill. Bill either wants an omelette or an apology and his money back, on the spot, immediately. And that's what technology can let you do, as long as you're running it live and in real time. And that's kind of where we get to with Rant and Rave. What we're into that we think makes us different is, firstly, everybody else is just listening. Well, we do that, but we're about the action as well as the listening, and the action during the journey, feeding out the information, DPD style, to tell you what's going on, as well as measuring the effect. Everything that we do is in real time. If we can't get the information returned back, preferably to the front line of our client organization, so that people can do something with it, then it's not really our bag. And it's the positive feedback as well as the negative feedback. There's been lots of conversations about culture, that culture eats strategy for breakfast, that we need our staff engaged and motivated and excited. Well, use these channels to listen to them, but show them what customers are saying about when they do a great job. Because we don't. We bury it away in a report somewhere that only senior managers see 3 months later. Why do that? I've got a credit card debt collection client who ask about the customer experience at the end of a debt collection call. That's great. What do you think the customers say? I hate it that I owe you money. Because of course they do, because it's debt collection. That's what you're going to say. But they go on to say, I hate it that I owe you money, but your agent was friendly, helpful, supportive, understanding, kind. I know what I need to do next. They've helped me deal with this problem. And that feedback gets straight back to the frontline agent, who perceives their job as being nasty to people for money and actually is suddenly sitting up straight because somebody thinks they're doing a good job, that they've treated them like a human, that they've helped them work better. You can really power the culture and the behaviors you're looking for by taking the positive feedback and acting on it, as well as just looking for the problems and jumping on people and beating them up. We think Rant and Rave is for everyone, everywhere, at every touch point, and we're really serious about making it easy. That's a typical Rant and Rave survey. You will notice how many questions there are. That'll be 2. I flew with KLM a few weeks ago. I really like them as an airline. And so they sent me their passenger survey afterwards, and I thought, I'll do that. It is 75 questions long. 13%, I counted, I'm sad. 13% of those questions are asking information which they must already have to have let me on the aircraft in the first place. So in order to qualify to be in this survey, they must have data. Where were you flying from? I really hope you know. Where did your plane go? Now you're starting to scare me. You must know where the plane was going. All that sort of stuff. That's not the worrying bit. The scary bit is 37% of the questions I think I got wrong. And I wasn't trying to be difficult. Like I said, I like the airline. But I'd answer the question, and 3 questions later, it would ask me something, and I go, I've just answered. Oh, I haven't just answered that. That must have been, oh, hang on. Well, now what do I do? Anyway, I ambled my way through 74 of these questions without actually getting a chance to talk about the one thing that had really quite annoyed me on the flight, and I wanted to talk about it, and I hadn't had a chance. But it's okay, because question 75 is going to save the day. Do you have any other thoughts? Now, that's a screenshot. It does slightly set the expectations because of how small the box is compared to all the big ticks I've been doing so far. Okay, they've given me a chance. So I sat there and typed and ran into the character count limit and went back and edited. It's a bit like tweeting, really. I managed to squeeze it into enough characters and hit submit. 75 questions, but I got to tell them what I thought. Thank you for your contribution. We hope you had a pleasant day. That's right. All answers are processed automatically. Unfortunately, it's not possible to respond to additional comments in the questionnaire. You have the right to access and modify your personal data in accordance with current legislation. Did anybody read my comment? Really? Anyone? I mean, nobody would have done. And the sad thing is, I like KLM. I had a great flight. I really enjoyed it. And their process of trying to find that out from me has actually lowered my opinion of the brand. It's given me a worse customer experience by trying to measure the customer experience. I mean, it's a bit scary, really. We don't do that. We do simple surveys for big organizations. 2 questions is typical. And then we use the power of what customers tell us in that free format comment box to understand what people are saying. I know that you can use the cat and the kettle approach, and you can read every single comment, and fair play for doing it, but that's hard work. We apply technology to that problem. And we feel we need to because, how was lunch? Could we have a look at the answers, please? Okay. Lunch looks pretty good. 29% of you scored it a 7. It's not quite the net promoter scale, but if we sort of fudge it a little bit, we've got some ravers at the bottom here, maybe about 21% in total coming together. We have got, though, 3, 6, 10, 17, yeah, we're sort of 17, 30%-ish of people who really weren't that happy. Well, now the good news is we can take that information and we can take that straight to the event organizer and the catering manager, and they will know exactly what to do. I didn't let you tell me why. That's all our technology does. We get a score because people like scores and you can count them and track them, and then we say, why? The actual question I asked you was, how was lunch? But the system we have here today doesn't actually let you tell me why you think that. There's 20% of the people plus in this room who really weren't that impressed with it. The organisers will have that information. If you don't ask people to talk to you in a way that's immediate, we'll drop back to the slide if we could, please, thank you. If we don't ask everyone to talk to you in a way that's simple and immediate and easy and in their own words, then you're either guessing off one number or you're killing the customer with 75 questions trying to measure every single thing except, and it is ironic, the one thing I actually wanted to talk to them about, which they never asked me at any stage in the survey. It's a shame, because they're a good airline, and I would recommend them, but I'm not going to until they change their survey. That's where we fit. We think that the world is ranting and raving. We think that if you link proactive communication and fast feedback together, you take action on that feedback, and you get the information down to the front line, you can have more of the ravers and fewer of the ranters. Thank you very much.